and welcome to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. My name is Calvin. I'm the host tonight. I'm joined by Jack and Charlie. And I don't care how both you are. We're just going to jump straight into it. Right. Men's first team. A 1-1 draw with Dundee United. I wasn't there because I was in my bed. I was sick. Wasn't feeling well. Got some sort of cold. So, what did you think of the lineup, lads, just to kick us off straight away?
I thought it was as to be expected with Porteous out. I didn't expect Harry Clark to start though, or Muller.
Neither did I.
But obviously we'll come on to the game in a wee bit. But no, I thought it was a good lineup. I thought probably with put Porteous back in there for maybe Rocky, and that's probably our strongest lineup, I would say. It was nice to see Josh Campbell dropped because sometimes it feels like he's undroppable. So. But no, it was good. I was really happy with it, to be honest, mate. I was really excited for the game after I seen the lineup.
I agree with you. I think that's probably our strongest starting 11. Just for in case the listeners can't remember who it was, we went with Dabrowski in goals, a sort of back five of Cadden, Rocky, Hanlon, Doig, and Clark. With Doyle, Hayes, and Newell in the middle. With a front three, Jasper, Muller, and Melkerson. Jack, what was your thoughts, mate?
Obviously, I was helping the Dundee Pro kids before the game, so I caught the lineup a bit later. But I thought it was as expected, apart from Harry Clark. You know, I was shocked to see him start. I knew he'd feature. I thought he'd maybe be on the bench initially because obviously he's just come back from his injury, which is obviously it was quite a serious injury. So it was interesting to see him start. But I was happy to see him start. I was happy to see Harry get the opportunity. But apart from that, I basically got to echo what Charlie said. I mean, you stick Porteous for Rocky in that lineup, and that's our strongest lineup, I think. So I was happy, no complaints from me. It was a really strong lineup, and I was excited for the game when I saw the lineup.
Yeah, I'm so fed up of trying to guess the Hibs starting 11. I think it's absolutely crazy, man. The lack of consistency in the lineup this year has been probably part of our downfall for me. It's one of my pet peeves. I mean, why has he not started Jasper, Muller, and Melkerson before now? Because looking at it on paper, I think Muller, I mean, you've brought him in for Orlando City. I think he's probably a better player than Dre Wright. I can't understand why those three haven't started before. There's too much chopping and changing for me, but I do think it's the best 11 that they have. Now, I was surprised Harry Clark came back into the squad. Personally, I'm surprised he dropped Stevenson. Like, for me, it's just all over the shop, and I think it's a big part of why we're not being successful recently. Just lack of consistency is unbelievable. But it was definitely a strong enough team to beat Dundee United. Anyway, in typical Hibs fashion, we're a goal behind after 10 minutes. Talk to me about the opening 10 minutes, guys.
Jack, you go. You take it, mate.
All right, okay. Well, I thought it was like, obviously you can't really say much about a game 10 minutes in, especially like when I had missed most of the start because I'd been out helping with the bucket collection, But I thought what I saw of it, I thought Dundee United were slightly the better side. They just more started on the front foot. And I think the goal was just a silly one to give away. Now, it all comes from a free kick that wasn't a free kick. And I think the referee was shocking, to be brutally honest. Had no control of the game whatsoever. But yeah, it all comes from a free kick. It wasn't a free kick. That's not the point. At the end of the day, you've still got to defend that. It was just a silly goal to give away. And I think had we dealt with that better, had Dabrowski saved that, we would have won that game 1-0. Because United had hardly any chances after that, any sort of clear-cut chances. I'd say they had half chances after that, but I wouldn't say they had any clear-cut chances for me. So it was just so frustrating. And you lose a goal like that 10 minutes in, it's unacceptable to me, to be honest. You know, you've got to defend that. And we've spoken about it so many times so far this season that set pieces just seem to be our downfall. You know, that was quite a simple one to defend. And we didn't really
we're not a small team either. We're not a small team either. We're a tall team.
Exactly, Calvin, exactly. And it's so frustrating.
Harry Clark's in there. Rocky's pretty tall. Hanlon. I mean, it's for me as well. Like, I kind of get my head around it because surely they knew it was an important game. You win that, and that's top six kind of. So it settles the nerves a wee bit for next year. For next week. And it's like, we're a goal behind after 10 minutes. It's just like, what? Surely Maloney says to them, keep it tight for the first 10, 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll grow into the game. But nah, disappointing. Charlie?
Well, Paul Hanlon doesn't track his man, and it's a free header. And people know my thoughts on Paul Hanlon if they've listened to the podcast, and he's at fault for the goal. I think Rocky, Dabrowski probably could have saved it, but Paul Hanlon needs to be tighter on Ross Graham. Jack's right, it all comes from a foul that's not a foul. Football's a contact sport last time I checked. And Tony Watt threw himself at the deck like he'd been shot after a wee shoulder barge. You know, stupid defending, and it was a problem at the start of the season, and then it seemed to have been rectified when Maloney's come in. And I don't know who to pinpoint the blame on for it, but for me, silly defending from Hanlon should be tighter on Ross Graham, and it's a free header and we're 1-0 down.
Yeah, if you look at it as well, Rocky's all over the shop as well. He's in no man's land. He doesn't ken who he's marking or where the ball's coming in. Like, just looks like a complete lack of experience again for me. And I don't know, man. Like I said as well, like, this season's been an absolute nightmare. Like, we don't even make ourselves hard to beat. Like, we're not a tough team to beat. I don't think anybody fears coming to Easter Road. I genuinely don't. I feel like everybody that comes thinks they could probably leave with a point. Or at least something from the match, 3 points or a point. We make it so hard for ourselves, in my opinion. And I'm just I can't wait for the season to be over. Really, I'm a bit fed up of it. So moving on, how did the rest of the first half pan out for you guys? I'll give my views after.
After we went 1-0 down, Dundee United had a few chances to make it 2-0. They probably should have. As the ball flashed across the box, that if Niskanen gets a better connection with it, that's 2-0. And probably game over, I would say. 2-0 down at home, it's very hard to come back into that. But obviously, we get the goal at the right time, just before half-time. I thought, what a fantastic finish for Clark. The way he takes it down, turns, and then just smashes it in. Like, that's good. That's what we want to see. And I'd put him up front, Like, I'd put him up front, to be honest. He used
to be a striker, eh?
Aye, he's got
post-match.
He's got that eye for goal, so hopefully.
Aye.
And I thought he actually played really well first half. I think maybe first 15 minutes. Obviously, you can tell he's been injured. It's his first game back in maybe 4 months. So he's obviously going to take time to regroup. And he only started training this week. So
before his goal, he almost equalised as well with the shot that blazed over the bar.
I
remember that one, but that was close as well. Like, and again, something we've been lacking. Not just the Maloney era, but Jack Ross era as well. I mean, go back and listen to our podcast about 2 months ago, and you'll hear us saying the same thing. We don't shoot enough, and there's Harry Clark coming in and just try to test the goalie. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's what we need more of going forward. Players that aren't afraid to shoot, and it's something that I've said for a long time. Midfield didn't shoot often enough, and the wing backs didn't shoot often enough too. I know Mitchell scored a couple since he's come in. I know Chris Cadden scored 2 this season, albeit one was an absolute fluke. But
yeah,
and Harry Clark's now scored as well. So I think that's positive that our wing backs are scoring. And as long as the ball hits the net, I don't really care who scores it. But no, I thought Harry Clark first half was, once he got the first shaky pass out the road, I think he was good.
Yeah. And Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half I was looking at it thinking it's going to need a real moment of magic from us to get back into the game. Yeah, I was looking at it thinking, where are we going to get this from? We need an equaliser. I was sitting saying to Charlie, we need an equaliser before half time. Or that's it. I think Dundee United would have just shut up shop and played for a 1-0 win, because I've done that a few times before. But yeah, first of all, I'd like to say fantastic ball from Cadden. Again, Cadden, every game he does the basics right. He does what you need him to do. I think Cadden's an unsung hero in a lot of games. And it was that ball across for Harry Clark there. Clark, nice touch, composed finish. And that's why, and he's played that far up before. Like Malky Mackay used to play him quite far up top against when he was playing for Ross County. So I think he's definitely capable. He's got that eye for goal. We need that right now. We need a player with that eye for goal, especially when we're going into the derby on Saturday. So I was just so happy. I think Charlie knows. I went a bit. I got a bit exuberant in the words of Rod Petrie when he scored that, because honestly, I was not expecting it. It's genuinely like, here we go, half time, 1-0 down, happy blimmin' Saturday, but no, it was fantastic. And I think at that point, you could feel a wee bit of a momentum swing, because the fans are all clapping, the players going down the tunnel, the break, everything like that, because we'd sort of really made that charge for it right at the end of the first half. I think that was it. We started getting our foot on the ball. We maybe started trying to get balls into the box and everything. I think it was when we spoke about this, when we spoke about the Aberdeen game, I think it was a great point that Cal made, that how many times has Cadden put a good ball into the box and nobody's been there to get on the end of it? This time, Harry Clark was there, and like I said, it was a nice composed finish and what we needed.
It was a very confident finish as well. Like he
exactly.
looked like, so he didn't look like a player that was low in confidence. Like I feel a lot of our players are frightened to put themselves out there, or frightened to sort of go for something or throw themselves at something. He took it down very calmly and he slotted it home like he knew what he was doing. We've missed that a bit of confidence in the final third this year.
100%.
But for me, like I've been saying it all year, like the minute they scored, I thought we're beat. I had no confidence in us being able. I thought there's no danger we're scoring 2 goals. No way. There's no way we've got 2 goals in us to come back for this. I was even surprised I was surprised we equalised, because for me, like you said there, Jack, it's been the same story all year. Like when St Mirren and that have came and they've took the lead, they just shut up shop. And there's 11 men behind the ball, and we cannot break that down. We can't break it down. We can't pass through it. We go to the sides all the time. I mean, for me, if you're to do a heat map East Road this season, that right hand side where Boyle and Jasper play would be on fire, literally. So only idea we've got all year, the only idea we've had is find Boyle doing that wing and cross the ball into nobody, or get the ball into Jasper, cross it into nobody. The first game that Mitchell played, we done the same, but we done it on the opposite side. But for me, I said way back at the start of the year, in order for us to finish third this year, we'd have to be versatile. Like we'd have to be able to adapt and change to have different styles of play. Like we'd have to be, we'd have to be tough and ugly to beat, hard to beat. Do you know what I mean? Or at times be able to play that sort of free flowing, expansive football that Maloney wants, but at times learn where to sort of dig in and grind out a result, and we just haven't been. We've been the exact same all year. We're very, very easy to suss out, I think. Extremely easy. And that's what makes me really worried for the next 2 games against Hearts. We're so predictable, it's unbelievable, in my opinion. But second half rolls round, guys. Apparently we were really improved in the second half, but I'm going to be sounding so negative to the listeners on that, but I'm sick of it, man. I am sick of it. It's the same shite all the time. Genuinely, it's getting to the final, pass, getting to the final third, no idea what to do. For me, it's Fenlon and Butcher-esque stuff. I think it's so boring to watch. It is so boring to watch. There's no creativity. There's no really any flair players other than Jasper or Boyle this year. For me, it was really poor. Like I thought it was a tough watch, man. You're sitting there looking at the clock, and for me, I was saying, right, okay, still 35 minutes to go here. Surely we've got another couple of chances in us. 20 minutes to go. Before you know it, it's the 94th minute and we're still no scored, and you're just like, what's going on, man? Brutal to watch for me. Like I didn't enjoy it at all. Don't know what you think.
I think it was just a case of our usual. You were getting, for example, it would go to Mueller, he'd not know what to do, and he'd pass it back to Melson would get back to him. Then somebody needs to take a shot. There's a few times where we had Dundee United cut out, and if Melkerson or Mueller or JDH or I think even I think it was can't mind who it was, but somebody, they basically like dribbled, and they had a really clear line at goal, and they didn't take a shot, they passed it back. I think it could have possibly have been
Melkerson,
yeah, it was Melkerson. The one I'm going to say though that really frustrated me, well, thank you, Charlie, I've just got to say, because I just wanted to forget it, to be honest. But the one that really frustrated me, right at the end, Melkerson, it basically an empty goal, Benji Seagrace completely caught out, blasts it over the bar. I mean, and I understand, I'm not going to go nuclear on this, but I think that's properly frustrating because that was the chance. If he'd taken his time, because he had the time, he'd taken his time and maybe calmed down a bit. There you go, 2-1 Hibs. We'd won the game, 3 points, top 6 secured. We don't have to have our arses clenched tight going into the derby. But, you know, and part of me goes, all right, you know, rush of blood to the head, whatever. The other half of me goes, he needs to be scoring that. You know, we were told guaranteed goals. We were told that he was going to be on fire, and he's 300 whatever grand. You know, and I'm just saying that I think it's slightly frustrating when he had the time, just take that extra touch and be calm, place your shot, and we would have won the game. And because it was basically an empty net. Benji Secrets was completely caught out, so it was a bit frustrating for me. I think that summed up our afternoon.
It summed up our season, to be fair.
Exactly. You could play. I think you could play all day, and we weren't going to score that decisive goal. It's as simple as that.
I feel like there's a double-edged sword, though, Jack, because if that's Nisbet, right, misses that, there's a riot on Twitter. I mean, a full-blown riot. Now, I understand Melkerson, what is it? Is his 4th game for Hibs, maybe? Maybe his 4th game. He should be doing better, and he'll know that. He'll know that, and he'll learn from that. And I'd rather he made the mistake at this weekend, rather than next weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'll say that much. But no, it's a double-edged sword because he's came in, he's young. He's been playing in the 2nd division in Norway. You know, he's used to getting grass pitch and things like that, Easter Road and whatever else. But he should score it. There's no if, buts, or maybes. He should score it. He's missed it. Just need to draw a line under it and move on. And hopefully he can learn from that. For me, anyway. Charlie, any thoughts?
Too much of the time as well. Like Muller, that penalty incident, for me, it's a soft one if we get it. Obviously, I'll take it.
He's very dramatic. He's very Americanized. It's very dramatic. All his fouls.
Remember, though, Ryan Kent won a penalty in the exact same manner at Easter Road in December. So let's not forget that. But there was 2 occasions where we probably should have had a penalty. I think Mulgrew fouled Melkerson, not given. But, like, you're right about the dribbling too much. Like, Melkerson's trying to do all these fancy flicks and all that to get past people.
The hot dog Warren does, though. That's what he's like. He's confident.
But like
we've just not got the time for that now. We just need to put the ball in the back of the net. And if we were 3rd place and comfortable, we could do that, but we just not got it.
It's the same with Jasper. Like, I think his natural instinct is to do a wee fancy flick, and that drives me insane. Canberry used to wind me up all the time when he done that. And I had Jasper's better than Canberry, but it's just frustrating, mate, because, and Jack's right, that one with Melkerson, like, that sums our season up. We're going to finish bottom 6, I think. And I don't think we'd have any complaints because we've not been good enough this season.
We've played like a bottom 6 side all year for me.
And we've won, I think it was something like 1 game in however many. You know what I mean? Like, after the turn of the year, we've won 1 game in the league. As far as if I remember correctly, like that's
a fact proper, for you.
That's proper awful form.
It's like I said to you, it's Butcheresque. But
it's not all bad though. Like there's definitely improvements. Like defensively, we're a much better team under Maloney than we were under Jack Ross. But also, we're not scoring goals. So
for me, with nothing in the middle of the park or up top, is very flat and lackluster.
I thought on Saturday though, I thought Joe Newell had a fantastic game, and it was the strangest sub ever. Why Joe Newell was the one who was getting us forward in midfield, and he brings him off. Like, if anyone should go off there, it's Jake Doyle-Hayes.
Yeah, I don't know what you know my opinion on Jake. But I was going to say, Charlie, here's a fact for you: Dundee are bottom of the league, right? Hibs have only won 4 more games than Dundee all year.
It says it all, doesn't it?
And we're going on about being third best in the country, and that you're having a laugh, man. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's also important to remember that, well, as much as that's a true fact, but also Maloney's trying to revitalise a team that was low on confidence. He's trying to do, I think he's probably just playing damage limitation till the end of the season now. And I think lose on Saturday, lose next week, you'll be lucky if we get over 10,000 folk in the door at Easter Road, because the season's over. Like if we finish bottom 6, you've all obviously you didn't want to finish 11th, so you're obviously playing to avoid that. But come on, to fuck, man. That's like, I've no other phrase to use. Like, it's awful football sometimes. It
wasn't what we were promised.
And I think next season it will. I think next season it will be, mate, because I think he needs a proper clear out. A wannabe footballers. Like,
who are you clearing out though? Who the fuck are you clearing out?
Mate, if it was me, I'd be getting rid of Dre Wright, James Scott's thankfully going back. Dre Wright's...
How is James Scott a football player? I have no idea. He's got to be one of the most. He's worse than now in Vine.
Oh, easily. Right. So Dre Wright for me off. Paul McGinn off. If I had it my way, Paul Hanlon's diagonal football passes would never be seen at Easter Road again. Because he put the ball out the park 4 times on Saturday, mate. 4 times.
There's your captain and vice captain away straight away. That says everything you need to know.
Like, Stevenson and Porteous are my captain and vice captain if it was me.
Well, do you know what I would put? I wouldn't. I was thinking about it, right? And I'm not Joe Newell's biggest fan. And I was watching the game on Saturday and I came back to the same thing. There are no leaders in that team. There are no leaders. I'm not listening to anybody telling me, yes, there are leaders in that team. I don't see it. I don't see it. Not the type of leader that I like. Anyway, wait, Porteous, I would say, is a leader.
I think
who in that team knows that if we didn't win that game at the weekend, that we're struggling to make top 6. Are they happy with that?
I think Lewis Stevenson's got leadership capacity and capabilities.
He said in an interview that he'd done, I listened to one, that he didn't want to be a manager because he doesn't feel like he's got much of a voice. So I didn't feel like Stevenson's going through folk in the changing room and that and saying to folk, look, Ken, you better get your finger out and win this game. Or, Ken, what, there's a derby next week at Tynecastle, you better win it. Or, do you know what, like, we've been humiliated at Hampden the last 2-3 times by Hearts. It's not happening again. I mean, I even remember when the good James McPake's due. I remember when he came out after we beat Hearts and he said, we won't lose to Hearts anymore. And one of his interviews, we just don't have that. But I'll say Joe Newell, in that derby, I thought Joe Newell was exceptional. I thought he had a lot of leadership qualities about him.
I thought Joe Newell on Saturday was really good. I thought he was looking to get the ball forward. He was willing to make the tackles. And people know my thoughts on Hanlon, right? Good servant to the club, what have you, won the Scottish Cup. But he's not a leader. He looks like he's scared when folk are running at him. He looks like he's not up for the fight every single time. And it's just like, and if you're a captain and you're playing the passes out why is that his natural go-to pass? When there's somebody in front of him and he plays a 35-yard pinger that Harry Clark's got to try and run onto. Like, Jake Doyle, who's standing in front of him, play the easy ball. Like, that all flows. And do you remember Nathan Wood? I know he got slaughtered on Twitter. He was playing beside Paul Hanlon that day, who was making those diagonal balls. Nathan Wood tries it once and loses all confidence because the ball doesn't work. It's like you learn with what you're playing beside. And if Paul Hanlon, like, he's not a captain for me. And I know I've taken a battering on Twitter for that view. And
he's not a captain for me either. I think it's a joke. He's not Scott Brown-esque. He's not. He's a good player in that. He's a solid player. I think he's all right, but I just don't think it. I don't think any of that. Oh, mate, honestly, I'm Hibs through and through, and I don't understand why we got a goal down at 1-0 at Dundee United. Why are folk not going? Why don't we have someone in that team like a Stephen Naismith at Hearts that would go absolutely through people? And he wasn't even a jambo, Ken. I mean, he was a Rangers man. People at Celtic like Scott Brown and that, when he was there, we just don't have that. We're too nice. We don't have us, man.
We're missing a David Gray character.
Yeah, we need a hard man that's just going to say to the team, when it's going wrong, he's just going to go through them, and that's it. I think the problem is Louis's got leadership qualities outside of maybe the shouting and whatever, because there's more to being a captain than that. So Louis does have those leadership skills outside of that. And I think obviously his stature is the longest serving Hibs player of the 21st century as well. So it helps in that. But I definitely think Porto, you maybe get some of the aggression out because there's maybe a bit too much there. Get some of the aggression out, but keep the good bits of it and harness it. He's a brilliant captain. And I don't care what the Daily Record or whoever says. He's a good. Porteous has got the makings of being an excellent captain for us. So I
Your Scotland
definitely agree
captain.
with that. But for me, yeah, Paul's not a captain, and I agree with Charlie that he, as much as I like Paul when I was younger. I'll say that now. Charlie, you can go and block me on Twitter now, but I'm kidding. But I like Paul when I was younger, and obviously that's because when I was a sort of younger lad, it was all when Paul Hanlon, you know, it was scoring the equaliser at Tiny and winning as a cup. But I do think Paul's a bit long in the tooth now, and he's not got the skills to be a captain. I don't think he was a great guy. He's done so much for Hibs, and I'll be forever thankful for him for what he did earlier on in his career. But for me, he's just not a captain. And I think we do need a better captain and another vice captain as well, because I just think Paul McGinn, that injury's not done him any favours. He's not had the best season. I think last season he was all right, you know, solid 7 out of 10 every week, but no this season. I think he's had the injury. He had the suspension for Collins on beating an act. And then just before that, I just think Paul McGinn was the weak link on that side as well. And that's not what you want. That's the boy that's got to step up if your captain's out or whatever. So I don't like games that we've had Louis as captain, we've played a bit better than games where we've had Paul in. But yeah, I think the diagonal passes need to stop because it just doesn't work. You could tell it was so frustrating to watch, but that's it. You know, I think. I mean, I always like to see the brighter side of things, but I don't think we'll get bottom 6. I think we'll sneak top 6, but I think we'll sneak top 6 definitely. Well, I think you've just got to. I'm trying to be optimistic about it, but I think we can. If we're motivated for it, we can win at Tynecastle because it's a derby. Fernbook goes out the window. Then there's many times where they've been utterly terrible, they've beaten us, and when we've been utterly terrible, we've beaten them. So look at, I mean, we papped them out the cup 3-1 when we were a division below them. So look at it like that. You've got to look at it and go, it's possible. I think we'll sneak top 6. And are we going to get Europe? Probably not. But
we're not good enough. We're not good enough for Europe.
Yeah, I know we've not been good enough, Calvin, but I still think we'll sneak top 6.
What I'm saying here, people who think we should be getting European football, I think
we're not.
We're not good enough. We'll be out of the first hurdle. We're not very good. And for me,
I think that's it. We would be out in the first round. You know,
even sneak.
Fifth's enough to get Europe, but I don't think we'll get fifth. I think we'll be sixth. Sixth, man.
I don't think we need it. I don't think we're good enough. I think the thing is really even sneaking top 6, like we shouldn't be sneaking top 6. We should be top 6.
Oh, exactly.
That's an issue in itself.
You know, we've got if we get. I'd rather we sneak top 6 and finish in the bottom 6 position we're in.
Well,
I think after the form we've been in this season, we'll be lucky to get it, but it's doable. I definitely think it's doable. Because I'd like us to do it on our own merits by winning against them, but if other results go our way, it's doable. And I think it's bad to rely on that. But if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. I think the folks saying bottom 6, I can understand where they're coming from, but then it feeds into the sort of thing about like you've just I like what they said in Spider-Man. If you expect disappointment, then that's what you're going to get. Well, if you maybe try and be a bit more optimistic and go, well, we can maybe do it, then you never know. But I definitely think this season's just not been good enough at all. We started it with so much promise, and it's just not been great. You know what I mean? So
I really struggle to be optimistic with Hibs at the best of times because I'm so used to the failure, you know, and I think every Hibs fan's used to seeing the failure side of things.
Absolutely.
But I think I can see progress under Maloney. I know the football's not great to watch, but I think you've got to ask yourself: does he have the players that he wants to have for the system to work?
Well, that brings me on to my next point because I think he's had a lot more backing than what Jack Ross got in terms of bringing in his own players and that.
I think we'll see.
I think it's now time to. I'm Maloney in. I won't even entertain a Maloney out conversation because that is ridiculous. For me, Maloney has got to be there for 3 years. But just because you're questioning somebody doesn't mean you want to get rid of them. But my question to Maloney is, what is your style of play? Because it's horrendous. And there is, for me, I don't see any, I don't see much progress from when Jack Ross was in charge to Maloney now. Not much.
I think one bit of progress that I've seen is that we're not leaking goals as much. Yeah, we're not leaking goals. On the flip side, we're not scoring goals. But my last point on it, and it was a conversation I had with one of my mates a few months ago. It was on the Scott Allen debate, and players like that, Darren McGregor and all that. I don't think Maloney's got the type of players that he wants in the squad to make his style of play work. And I agree, Calvin. It's absolutely brutal to watch at the best of times. Like
you can't say you go there and enjoy watching that on Saturday.
No, you didn't. And I think Saturday at Tynecastle, it's going to be another one that's going to be a hard watch, I think. But I think on the plus side, right, he's been backed. We've seen that one window. He brought in how many players? 6, 7 players, maybe a few more. We'll see that in the summer. We've got the Martin Boyle money to spend. I think he will come good. I think it's just about damage limitation. Jack, I think you might be right, mate. I think results might go our way at the weekend. I don't think we'll finish any higher than 5th, though. Like, if we get top 6, like 5th. Like, in terms of table finishes, we've regressed in a season. But I think next season, get a good transfer window, get a good preseason. I think we'll be sound.
Right. I think someone just needs to say to Maloney, listen, like this fast flowing football that you're trying to play is no working.
Try something else.
Try something else, man. You need to put for me, when we're playing Hearts on Saturday and in the cup final, I wouldn't be trying to. For me, I would probably be as defensive as you can and just try and catch him on the break with Melkerson over the top. That's what I would do. I wouldn't try and get the ball in the wings and all of that, because it does not work for me. Anyway, let's move on to the women's team. So, Jack, you made the trip to go and support the women once again, which was arguably a season, for me, a season's finished. With a defeat to Partick Thistle 4-2, season's finished. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, but I think that's it now. The Scottish Cup was the last sort of thing we could look at and go, this is where we're going to make any sort of tangible progress. I think for me, the league's not even, we're not even secured 4th anymore. We're not even secured 4th anymore, because I think Spartans have got the easier run of games to finish up the season. So I think if we finish 5th, that's going to be massively disappointing, because I think that'd be our lowest league finish ever in the SWPL 1. So I think that'd be massively disappointing. But yeah, I don't understand where it went wrong, to be honest. I'm looking at it and going.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, what went wrong?
So I think, first of all, I looked at the lineup and I don't understand why we didn't go with 2 up top. It's worked every other game. Even at Parkhead, you could tell. Even at Parkhead, you could tell it worked. Even though we lost 4-0, you could tell we were still getting chances. Against Partick, we looked very flat-footed. I think that's what I said when I did my wee half-time video for the podcast. I said, we're flat-footed, and we were. The first half, we came out and we just Partick with a better team. 2-0 down at half-time to Partick Thistle. And I was looking at that going, and I hate to be negative about the girls, because 9 times out of 10 they play good football, but this time we didn't.
Be honest.
even against Celtic, we played better against Celtic. I'll be honest right now, we played better against Celtic.
Aye, but what I was going, if you listen to Dean's interview after the match, Dean said a lot of questions were answered for him on Friday night. Was it Friday night you were? Aye.
Yeah, it was Friday night.
So I've been in my bed all weekend, so I wasn't well, so I didn't ken. But he said that on Friday night, a lot of questions for him were answered, and there was a lot of individual errors that led to that defeat. So what do you think of that?
He's right in that respect for me, because the first goal, the defence were all over the place. The Partick's first goal, the defence were all over the place, completely got caught out. Defence were all over the place. Second one, Gabby basically kicked it off of a Partick Thistle player, and the lassie tapped it in. Now, I did say Emily should have got the shout, and that's why I said that. Gabby was a bit shaky at Parkhead, and that's why I said Emily should have got the shout for that game. It's a cup game. Emily stepped up in big games before. I thought she'd be more than capable of going in, and I think I'm not saying we would have, but I think it would have been maybe a better game if Emily had come in. I think the second half we were much better. We got it, apart from going 3-0 down. We started the second half much the same as we started the first. We're very flat-footed again, go 3-0 down, but we managed to get the 2 goals back. I like to say Michaela Macaloni was just an utter engine in midfield. She was fantastic. Mickey was Mickey and Jenna are the Hibs players that get pass marks from me because they were both good until Jenna got taken off for Alexa, which I think was as much as Jenna was excellent. I think that's the change that should have been made at half time. I think we knew we were struggling up top because Partick were defending really well. We should have made that switch at half time. I think that's the only thing I'll say. Apart from another one, I'm annoyed that's like Kirsty or Rosie didn't get a chance off the bench. Both are attacking players. When you're looking for goals, you want to be making attacking changes when you're 3-0 down. But we got it back to 3-2, and I thought at that point, genuinely, we were going to get back into it. I thought, there we go, ultimate comeback, because at 3-2 we were looking like much the better. We actually looked like a better team, and it was one of those games that on another night we could have ended up winning that 5-4, seriously. But after the Partick scored their fourth goal, that was it. The heads went down. I think the fourth goal was against them. It was a bad mistake, a bit of a miscommunication. I think we missed Joelle. That's what obviously Joelle took a sore one at Parkhead, so she couldn't play. But we missed Joelle in that respect because I think Ellis is a good captain when she needs to be. But I think her and Shiv weren't telling Gabby. So Gabby thought she was to go for it, whilst Shiv and Ellis could have said, leave it. We want to clear it. So then there was a miscommunication, a scramble, Partick player scores, and then you go at that. It's done as a contest then. I think, but that's what was frustrating. At 3-2 down, we looked much the better side. We shouldn't have been 3-0 down in the first place. I think, had we have not had that first half performance, we would have won that game. It's as simple as that for me. And it's just so frustrating because the Scottish Cup, genuinely, we could have made it to at least the final. Because if the draw had went our way and we got Hearts in the semi, I think we would have beaten them and got to the final. So if the draw had went our way, we could have got to a final. I think it's a bit upsetting because we're a side that gets to finals and semi-finals in the women's game. You know, we've got that big history and we should have been there. But yeah, for me, the season's done. I think Dean will get a better idea, obviously, of what he needs to do next season, who's staying, maybe who's not staying. So I think that gives him, I think that's what feeds into his whole thing of he's got some questions answered now. So I think he knows what he needs to do in terms of adding to the squad or who's going to get axed or who's going to get moved on, because I think I need a lot of that needs done in the summer. And that happens in women's football a lot. You know, I think sometimes you know the players that you don't want, and it happens in men's football as well. I think more so in women's football. You know the players that you need, you know the players that you don't need, you know what areas you need to strengthen. I think we're looking at that, and obviously, you know, we're looking at going semi-pros. So I think, you know, we know what to do. We know how to attract players in at that point as well. So I think for me, it's just a case of this season, it's getting to the end of it, and we can reflect on a campaign that's been sort of good and bad, if you see what I mean. You know, we had a decent start to the league. I think we're beating, aside from Spartans and Aberdeen and Partick, we're beating the sides we need to beat. You like Motherwell, you like that. So I think we'll still get fourth, and that'll be it. And I think that's it. We've got that sort of best of the rest status now. You know, Rangers, Celtic, Glasgow City have piled all the money at it. They're going to be the top three. And I think we've got that best of the rest status for me. I think we're going to go into the position that Aberdeen had for many years in the men's game. I think that's probably what we're going to look at. It's not ideal, but it is what. We'll look at the history of Aberdeen. I think we're much like Aberdeen in the men's game, where we had that history where we're good, and then the old firm started chucking money at it, and it was end of story. You know what I mean? So I think for me, it's massively frustrating the way we lost that, but we've just got to move on. You know, we've got four
this year, I think.
And that's it. But hugely frustrating to be out the cup. Not a great performance at all. I think the girls would admit that themselves. We only have ourselves to blame in that one. And yeah, the only thing that I'd say we could have maybe changed is if we'd had the two strikers, if you'd had Ailey and Alexa, because Ailey was working her backside off as she always does. Ailey will put in an amazing shift every game, but she's young still. You can't expect a young player like that to do all the work herself. Alexa, when you have Alexa in there supporting her, it's much better, I think, when you have Alexa in there supporting her, because they play off of each other. Like I've said, they work better.
Yeah, the two up front has been good. I just feel like what like you say, it's just too much of the same. It's happened too often this year with the dropping silly points like that, and I think that's the difference between, you know, third and fourth, like where we are and where we need to be, is beating the teams around us, and we just ain't good enough at it this year, and it's a massive opportunity missed. In my opinion,
so. I think we could see if Celtic had been put, like I think Glasgow City, but Celtic have looked beatable as well. We could have won that cup this year. Why? It was ours. I think to me, it was partly ours to lose. We could have won it. We could have won it.
We should have.
And that's the thing, and that's what's so frustrating, that we went to Petershill Park, and for the second time this season, we lost in the league when we went there as well. Went to Petershill Park and lost in Partick. They're a decent side, right enough, but they're nothing special. They're no world beaters, if you see what I mean. On paper, we should be beating them. We've got to buy far superior. So we've got Scotland internationals in that side, and so I think that's it. But you know, I had a fear that maybe the Celtic defeat would play on it, but I think you could maybe tell the girls' heads were down a bit as well. And the thing is, I understand it was upsetting the Celtic, but you can't dwell on defeats, especially when you've got a big quarter final after it. You know, the quarter final for us, especially history we have in the Scottish Cup's huge. And the last time we had the Cups, obviously we didn't have any Cups last season because of the way the women's football went through COVID. Season before, we won the League Cup and got to the Scottish Cup final. So I think we've regressed slightly for me.
We have completely regressed. I would agree.
I don't buy this whole thing about, like, and I know so many people say it, like, I think it's 50-50. Okay, and I've said this on here before. Okay, you can go, oh, but Rangers and Celtic are throwing all the money. I don't buy that at all, because I've said it before. Look at Wigan winning the FA Cup. Look at Eintracht Frankfurt winning the DFB Pokal. Teams that don't have the money, it's all about having the belief against these teams. So yeah, I think for me, hugely frustrating. For me, that's it. We just need to get the season out of the way, prepare for next season. Hopefully next season, when I was going semi-pro, it'll be, you know, more, we can challenge for Champions League and we can challenge for trophies. That's what I'm hoping.
Right, speaking of world beaters, let's move on to the quiz, because Charlie seems to be a world beater in this quiz. Claims that he's undefeated, and I think he might be. But right, the Hibs quiz, same as always, 3 questions on the men, 3 questions on the women, right? And I think these are quite good. These are very fair questions, because last time I done it, these were greeting. So
I'm going to get horsed still, but anyway.
This time I'd like to make it a wee bit fairer for you, because you are both, well, none of you are Hibs fans anyway, because none of you are going to the semi-final.
Let's chuck a grenade in my don't we?
You'll not ken any of these answers anyway, but we'll go for it. So, first one for the men's. Right. Now, like I was saying earlier, I was thinking about doing a buzzer this time, like you buzz in, like, rather than, because last week I feel heavily cheated with Jack jumping on the bandwagon of the Ghana answer. But I'd be really surprised if you ken that, because you must have been a bit free at the time when it happened.
Jack, don't bite.
However, I'll just stick to the usual one, and we'll maybe do the buzzer next week. Now, first question in the men's. How many years old are Hibs? Well, you non-fans.
Who is it? Just answer. Is it anybody answer?
No, all right, sorry. I just thought that's one of you who just answered. Right, Jack, do you want to go first?
Right. If my mental arithmetic is right here, I'm going to say 147. Charles?
146, because we'll turn 147 in August.
I can confirm it's 146. Jack.
Well, you can't. Let's not do it by months here. That's
but our birthdays in
right.
our
2022
you were wrong.
Minus 1875 is 147.
Our birthday's in August.
The answer is 146.
It's 147.
No, mate,
because we're not doing it by months. That's stupid.
No,
that is stupid. We are in our 147th year,
mate. We're 147.
We are in our 147th. That is maths. That is maths.
Jack, I'm glad you tried the point. According to the Wikipedia,
that is
according to the Wikipedia, they're 146 years old.
Wikipedia can suck my dick. It's
aye.
All right.
Listen, I'm not cutting those explicit.
Right, okay. Next question.
Right. Just because, right. Number 2. What year did Hibs last have a black away kit?
I know this.
I'll go to Charlie first, just because I went to you first last time, Jack.
2017-18.
Jack.
It was the one with the green and white stripes doing it as well.
You're thinking of the right one. Have you got the year?
2017-18.
Yes, you are both correct. 2017-18. So well
was that the first year we got promoted, or the second?
That was the first. Yeah, that was a tidy. I wish I had that. I never got it at the time. I liked it.
It's good, mate.
I never got it either. I thought it was pretty smart, but I never got it.
It's on classic football shirts, I think.
Aye, £400 a pop.
No.
Is it?
No.
No,
I'm a laugh, mate.
That's
the eBay. That's the eBay price.
My wee brother just paid a tenner for it last week for the kids one, so it'll only be too much more for the adult
No,
one.
you'll fit into a kids one, Charlie. Unfortunately,
Not since I was.
Didn't
Not
make
since
me
I,
take points off.
not since I was born.
Can't take points off for that. Right. Question number 3 and the final question in the mains. Who was the last player Hibs signed in the January transfer window?
the last. I know this. Last, like absolute. This January transfer window.
This January, who was the last player we bought in on the deadline?
Can I answer? Can I answer now?
You're
Yes.
first.
It's Mr. Sylvester Jasper.
Charlie?
Well, Jasper signed, but it was in February, so nah, it was Jasper.
Yes, it was Jasper. So I think that makes it 3-2 to Charlie. Now we're going to move on to the women's game.
This could be
Big
my downfall.
stakes here.
Come on, Jack.
Now, how many Hibs women, so how many managers has the Hibs women team had?
It's me
Does-
first.
Since being Hibernian ladies.
When did we become Hibernian ladies?
90. No, it was like early 2000s, I think.
Yeah. Right, Charlie, I'll go to you first, I think.
5.
Good get, okay, cool guess. Jack?
I'm going to say. I'm going to say 4.
What are you going to say?
4.
Well, I can confirm that the correct answer is 4. So well done to Jack. That's pulled it back.
I was thinking either 4 or 5. Good.
Aye, it's
So
4.
Dean
It's,
Gibson, Grant Scott, Willie Kirk, and I can't mind what the fourth. I can't mind who the fourth one was.
as the coaches, aye. No, I've got here, according to the Wikipedia, which you're obviously not a fan of Wikipedia, Chris Roberts, Kevin Milne, Grant Scott, and Dean Gibson.
Yeah. Oh, Willie Kirk managed us as well. I'm pretty sure
He was assistant, was he? No.
he was assistant. Yeah, that was it. That was it. Willie Kirk was assistant.
Right,
He's the
so
Everton, he's
that's
the Everton
Stephen
manager.
Stevens.
That's what I was thinking of.
Now, the next one. Number 2 of the Hibs women's questions. Hibs, true or false? Hibs women have played Arsenal in Europe. Jack, you first.
Now, something's telling me that we haven't, but right, I'm gonna have to have a think here.
True or
I
false,
think
young man? True or false?
Come on, wait, I'm sorry, let me think, Calvin, for God's sake.
Big stakes here, Jack White.
Big state. That's why I want to have a. That's why I want to have a think. All right. That's why I want to have a think, because I think it might be. I think it might be false, but I don't want to commit to it. It's false. I'm going to say it's false. I'm going to go straight to the middle.
Okay.
False.
Charlie?
Go my gut.
It's false, mate. We've only played 2 British teams in Europe, and they've both been Welsh, Cardiff and Swansea.
Correct. Yes, the answer is false. So, still drawn. Right, last one. We have played 1 Spanish team in Europe.
Oh, you're having a laugh.
Hang on a second. Hibs women have played 1 Spanish team in Europe.
Ask him first.
Who
No,
was
you're
it?
first.
Hang
I
on.
know, because he's going to copy
Can
my
I
answer.
finish the question? Can I finish the question? Jeebus, right. For the listeners, I'll get it out. Hibs women have played 1 Spanish team in Europe. Who was it? It's multiple choice.
Yes.
You just had your horses. Was it A, Valencia, B, Espanyol, or C, Levante?
So am I going first?
You said let Charlie go first, right?
Mate,
You
I'm-
said that, or do you
let
want to
him
go
go
first,
first.
Jack? You decide, young man.
Do you want me to go first then? Real Club Deportivo Español.
Okay, and Charlie?
I'm going down the middle, mate. It's B.
These are both correct.
Yes.
These are both correct. It's a draw. I don't have a tiebreaker prepared. Can I quickly?
What colour's the third kit? Yellow. I win.
No. Hang on a minute. Right. Let me just get a
Who do we play
tiebreaker
on
up.
Saturday? Dundee United. I win.
Let me get a tiebreaker up. Right. So. Right. He's a sick. A tiebreaker. Jeez, this is going to be.
Jack, if I win,
Just one off the top of my head. I guess it doesn't have to be a women's question.
Jack,
for a tiebreaker.
whoever loses buys the first round on Saturday, all right?
Oh, no.
I'm joking.
Right.
You've
Tiebreaker,
got the big balls in this game, haven't you?
I'm ready, mate.
Oh God, I can't think of one. Give us a sec. I'm trying to see.
Who are the Hibs women's team sponsored by MB Media? Thank you. Ding ding winner.
Who set up MD Media? Barry Wilkins, ding ding winner.
No, here's the final question. Right.
What's
let me see.
Stanley's
Who was
favourite
the
football
last player? Who was the last Hibs player who scored in Edinburgh Derby?
team? Last time player.
Hang on a minute.
I know
Who's the
this.
last Hibs player to score in Edinburgh Derby? And I said, buzz in.
Ding ding ding.
Ding ding no.
Chaz.
Christian Deutsch.
It was Dodgy.
It's Dodgy, yes. When was the game?
You didn't tell me. No.
Halloween.
You can't just change the rules in the middle of the game.
What do you mean you can't? Of cose you can.
No, that's not.
Penalty
how-
Rangers.
Right, okay, I will do another tiebreaker.
Oh,
I'm a football referee. I've decided that we're going to have lineouts in football now. I'm a
Penalty
rugby
Rangers.
referee. I've decided we're going to. I don't know anymore.
Right, Jack.
Right, here we go. The tiebreaker of tiebreakers.
Do we buzz in or do we just answer?
No.
Just answer it.
Right, okay.
This one is to the closest minute.
Oh, hello.
Earlier on in the year, back in November, Hibs beat Rangers 3-1 at Hampden. In what minute did Martin Boyle score his first goal? Closest to the minute wins.
Jack, you go first.
Oh, why have I got to go? Why have I got to go first?
Because Charlie needs time to get it up on Google.
I'm
Nah,
going to say, if I remember this correctly, because I remember like looking at it periodically, because I was working with City that day. I'm going to say it was the 9th minute.
What? God, Charlie.
I think it was the 11th minute, if I remember correctly.
Nah, it's the 9th minute, Jack. You 100% Google that. You
I'm not Googled it. I was
Nah.
checking it periodically, and they didn't accuse me.
You 100% Googled that.
Do you want to see
Nah,
my phone? Do you want to see my
Someone
phone?
search his hard
Do
drive.
you want to see my phone?
nah,
see my
Jack,
phone? There.
you won it, mate. You won it. Well done.
Well done, mate.
I mean,
Aye,
you
you
can't
could
see
get
my
up
phone,
on the
but anyway.
laptop.
The 114-year wait is over. Hibs have won the Scottish Cup.
What
Well,
took
well
you,
done,
Jack?
Jack.
Jack Gillis is standing on the brink of history.
Stand on the brink of history.
Stand on the brink of a brain aneurysm. We play one of these
Like,
quizzes one more time.
like at WrestleMania 30, when Undertaker got beat off Brock Lesnar, the streak is over.
The streak is over.
Those streaks in
Unlucky.
your pants, son. Anyway, see, this brings out a nasty side to me. I think we need to find something else to do.
Doesn't it get the answer right, mate?
I know.
Nah, I'm absolutely hopeless or not. There's no way I would have getting that. And anyway, that brings us till next time. We'll be back
On
with a
Thursday.
special guest, the one, the only, my first ever favourite Hibs player. That should have been a tiebreaker. Who's my first ever most favourite Hibs player?
The guest
Claire
will go
Emsley.
on Thursday. Didn't he spoil it?
Yes, the guest will go on Thursday night. I'll keep it as a secret then. Got a guest on Thursday, where we'll dive into the Edinburgh Derby a little bit more in depth and get some top class analysis from ex Hibs player. That's all we're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
So listen, give us a subscribe on YouTube and all that because it helps the podcast if you're enjoying it. Give us a follow on Twitter. Buy us on Recast because it helps the club. And until next time, on Hibs.
Hey,